How's everybody today? Look, I think this is a really important game for us. This is a division game. Division games are like playing, two games, because if you lose one, the other team's got to lose two for you to catch up to them or get ahead of them. So this is really an important game. Obviously, this is the team that 2 out of the last 3 times we played has gotten the best of us. I think the ultimate disrespect sometimes is when somebody quietly thinks, they got your number, and our players need to understand that and obviously, do a great job of preparing for a totally different type of game this week than, what we played a week ago. So a lot of spread out stuff, going to be a lot of space plays, and really going to have to do a good job on both sides of the ball, keeping the ball away from them and doing a good job of playing defense, and they're really good at getting explosive plays. So we're looking forward to a tremendous environment in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think this is something that could really help us. They're a no-huddle team, so silent count could be an advantage for us. Might help our defensive players a little bit. Might be a tough thing for them to execute quite as well. So we really look forward to it. This is the 10th straight year that we've participated in the Coach Secure to support MS. We're happy to do it, and certainly like to do anything that we can to benefit people who are less fortunate than us. But I don't have a lot to say today. So I guess this would really be a good day for you all to ask some good questions. So you think we got any chance? Any chance at all? All right, now, if I don't start laughing here, I'm going to get killed on Sports Center or someplace.
We're going to, first participant here is Chandler.
The pressure's on.
Saturday we saw both Trayvon and Henry fielding punts during the game. Trayvon obviously had the muff in the first half. What are you going to do with that position going forward?
Well, Trayvon has been the most consistent guy we have fielding the ball, and we have a lot of confidence in Henry Ruggs. He's a great returner. He's very explosive. We've been trying to get him in the game for the last 2 games so he could get some experience in the game fielding the ball, and then we get in the game and we don't have an opportunity to put him in the game. We didn't have an opportunity in the Colorado State game because we never got him stopped on defense, and we kept the ball for, a bunch of time, in this last game and never had, that many, but he did get a couple. So we're not looking to make a change there. We have confidence in both players. These people that rugby punt, it's a completely different kind of ball to catch. The judgment, the experience, the line drives, the ball hitting the ground, when can you play it on a hop, when can't you play it on a hop. So we've been playing against those rugby punters every week, which we will again this week for the most part. So we kind of like the experience that Trayvon has, having been back there and having done that. But we're going to continue to try to get Ruggs as much experience as we can at that position.
Come on, left side, Reiner.
What kind of contributions has Dan Werder made behind the scenes?
Dan is a really good coach, and he's been very, very helpful in doing self-scout on the things that we do on offense, and also making contributions every week to some things that would complement some of the things that we do. And I think it's been very, very beneficial to helping us sort of have a little more of an NFL flavor in terms of some of the passing game, but also being able to do some of the things that Jalen is pretty good at from a spread standpoint. And I think he's been very, very helpful in the planning of some of the things that we've done on offense.
Just what do you see from Shea Patterson in their offense, and what makes him such a dynamic player?
Well, I mean, first of all, the guy's got great arm talent. He's very instinctive. He's a very good athlete. He can scramble and extend plays, which they made a lot of big plays on that part of it. And, their offensive system and scheme is very spread-oriented. There's a lot of RPOs with a lot of running plays, so he understands it really well. He reads it really well, and gets the ball out of his hand very quickly on some of those things. So the combination of all those things make it very difficult to, just about every running play has a pass with it. So you teach players to read, run, pass, but now it's a run, but it's a pass. So It creates a lot of run-pass conflicts on defense, and defensive players have to really do a good job of being disciplined in how they play those plays. And when they haven't played them correctly, you know, Shea's certainly taken advantage of it, and the guys played extremely well, I think, in all 3 games.
Back with Cecil.
This is a challenge. Has Miller Forrestall had his surgery? Are they going to wait on that? And with him out, how did the tight ends play, particularly Smith and Hinches,
Right.
this week?
Well, you know, Miller is a good player for us. He really satisfied a really good niche because of his athleticism and his receiving ability, and we'll certainly miss him. His surgery is, you know, scheduled and ready to go, so it's inevitable that he has to get it, and we'll get it. And I have not seen him, so I can't comment on how it went. But the other guys are certainly freshmen that have a lot of ability, and they've made very nice progress, and it was nice to get them both an opportunity to play in a game some last week. We've also worked Ronnie Clark a little bit at H-back now, so he may play some in that role as well. But it does make us relatively thin at the position, but we are pleased with the progress the freshmen have made.
Coming in the middle with Michael.
Last 2 games you guys played with them went 4+ hours. How exhausting, I guess, were those games, and how much does conditioning come into it?
Well, I think conditioning is a big part of it, and they seem like they go fast at times, maybe not as fast as what they were before. They have a pretty high play count. I think the key to it is, you know, you got to keep the ball on offense some, but you also got to get your stops on defense so you get off the field, and don't let them extend drives, because when they get those 10, 12 play drives and they're going fast, that's when your players really get wore out. And if they're not subbing people, it's difficult to sub people. So it's a huge challenge to be able to keep enough people in the game to stay fresh. And that's where I think when you play these kind of games, depth is really, really important. How much guys play on special teams that have to play on defense is really, really important. So the depth of your team all the way around affects special teams. It affects offense, defense. So conditioning is a huge factor. But having enough depth to try to keep enough players rolling in there is also a huge factor as well.
You've obviously expanded the secondary packages the last several years, a lot more nickel dime. You've talked about that at length. What's the challenge when you got a quarterback like Shea that throws the ball so much that he does, you know, not to be attacked or get out of their lanes in that formations?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, the extending plays. You know, one of the hardest things in playing defense is when the quarterback extends plays. Maybe you match the pattern, but then, you know, it becomes a scramble drill, and, you know, it's impossible to have a total set of rules for how everybody matches every pattern once everything goes helter-skelter. And that happens on occasion. We work on it. We worked on it this week. But I think when the defensive line can control the quarterback, that is very, very helpful. If he can throw the ball on time, I think that they may throw it and catch it. We may be in position to tackle them, and hopefully they can't catch it and run with it. But well, when he extends plays, you know, it's a Johnny Manziel type of game, and you know, it's very, very difficult on defensive players, and it takes a lot out of the players because they're actually chasing the player 2 or 3 times longer in a play than a normal play. So these kind of quarterbacks, you know, can be problematic if you can't control them with the athleticism of your rushers.
2 more, Ben and then Tony.
I don't think we heard about Jamie Mosley on Monday. Haven't seen him at practice the last couple of days. Is that from the game or something else?
No, he's ill. He's just sick. I mean, when he's you know, recovers, he'll be back out there. He doesn't have an injury. There's nothing wrong with him. You know, it happens on occasion. So hopefully he'll get well and maybe be with us tomorrow.
Wrap up here with Tony.
You mentioned the awareness that the team has to have against Ole Miss. Have you noticed an extra juice in your players the last 3 years following that first upset in 2014?
Look, I think it's important that the team has a relative amount of, to use your term, juice every week that we play. I think that every team that we play from here on out, if you look at the schedule, especially SEC games, we could win or lose every one of those games. They're all good teams. They all have the capabilities and good players to beat you. So to have the proper respect and have the right mental preparation and intensity to go out there and play at a high level and play to your standard every week is really, really important. Last year they'd beat us 2 years in a row, and we go over there and get behind 24-7. So if we had extra intensity, it didn't do us any good. Now, the perseverance the team showed in coming back in the game and winning the game was the resiliency was phenomenal, all right, and great competitors to be able to do that in the game. But we're going to need to play this game at a high level and a high standard like every other game that we play, and it comes from preparation and how you practice and understanding what you have to do your job, and doing it at a high level on a consistent basis, and that's what we'll focus on. All right, thank you.